it's at for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I'm delighted to be joined by heavyweight contender Nathan Gorman over Zoom. Nathan, first and foremost, how are you doing?
All good, thanks, mate. How are you?
I'm all good, mate. Obviously, we had a brief chat off camera speaking about the eagerness for life to return to some form of normality. How have you found life in lockdown at the minute?
Definitely. All right, mate. Listen, it's one of them things that, it's not just me. Everyone's in the same boat. As long as everyone's safe, and that's the main thing. If everyone's safe and sound, that's the main thing. But obviously, I'm eager for the boxing world to get back to normal because obviously it's been 12 months next month since I've been in the ring. So I need to get back out there, and hopefully it happens sooner rather than later, to be fair.
How have you found kind of the training in lockdown in comparison to having that normal day-to-day routine of going to a gym and having a trainer to work on things with you?
Yeah, obviously it's tough because I went from, being twice a day in the gym, my trainer and stuff, and then obviously having 8-10 weeks or whatever how long it's been since lockdown of nothing, just by myself. I got like a treadmill and bags and stuff up in, like, I got my own like gym here at home. So it was pretty tough to go from, having someone being with you to doing it yourself. So I'm looking forward to the gyms being back open, everything coming back to normal. But hopefully soon it will be.
Let's obviously get into what could lie ahead for yourself. And before we get into what's ahead, we do have to kind of reflect on this past year or so, really. Obviously, you mentioned it there. It's been nearly a year since you last fought, which was against Daniel Dubois. When you go back to that fight, what's your reflections on it? The loss to him, the stoppage defeat. What's your reflection on it all?
Now, obviously it's an experience, isn't it? Looking back, I had a lot of problems going into that fight. I'm not making no excuses because Daniel won. But if I'd have known what I know now, I would have postponed the fight for at least a month or something, because I had a lot on my plate building up to that fight and going into that fight, etc. I'm not saying it'll reflect on my performance because at the end of the day, I've been beaten now, and Daniel beat me, and he was the winner. But it'd have been nice to be on a level playing field. But it's one of them things. It's life, mate. Unfortunately, and you can't rule out what happens in life and things, can you? But like I said, it was an experience, and to be fair, being beat hasn't made me like very mopey or I've been beat now, and I'm done. It's made me totally opposite.
We obviously, we know about your son was very ill at the time when he was in hospital. Yeah. First and foremost, obviously, I hope he's okay and he's he's enjoying life himself.
Yeah, thank God he's doing really, really good now, which is the main thing.
Yeah, 100%. But obviously, going back to that, and I remember at the time you were still training around your son's illness. I remember you saying you was going for runs around the hospital car park and everything to try to go that.
Yeah.
Obviously, I haven't got kids, so I can't speak, but I can't imagine anybody being able to cope with something like that, as well as being able to prepare for what was the biggest fight in your career. How did you actually find mentally trying to juggle it all?
Well, at the time, I'm listening. I'm sure every father out there will agree with me. Your kids come first before anything, and the whole time I was training, my mind was only on one thing: was my kid. Obviously, we had a lot of problems with him. And like you said, I shouldn't have been really spending my training camp, sleeping on hospital floors and running around hospital car parks. It's not ideal. Don't get me wrong, I had a good training camp, sparring went well and all things like that. But in boxing, you need things to be 100%, not 60, 70%. Especially in fights like that, because Daniel's an extra. He's on the world. He's virtually getting onto the world stage now. The world level contender. You need things to be 100, 101%. Because if it isn't, then you're going to get beat. And I'm not just saying that's the reason why Daniel beat me, because I'm not making excuses. I got beat, and it's one of them things. But looking back and reflecting on it, I should have postponed it for a month or two.
What made you decide against postponing it? Because I'm sure your promoter, your team would have known what was going on, and they'd have been more than happy for you to kind of postpone it.
Yeah,
What made you decide against it?
I didn't want the brand to be, that I'm pulling out of a fight, because then you know how the boxing works, mate. People will jump on your back saying you're a shithouse, you're this, you're that, and I didn't want that brand. So I phoned my dad 2 nights before the Daniel fight. He goes, "We should pull this fight, son." He says, you're not, you blah blah blah. You're not yourself." And I said, "Dad, I said, if I got no hands, I said, I'm going in that ring on Saturday." So I said, "The fight's going ahead." So I don't care. So that was that. But looking back now, it'd have been a sensible thing to do. But when you're in that frame, in that zone where you wanna do it, it's one of them, mate. But I have no grudges against Daniel at all. Good luck to him. He's doing extremely well in his career, and he will do well in his career.
Except for obviously the life experiences you had around that fight, is there any positives you do take from it, or is it hard to kind of
Yeah,
look at it like that?
I do take a lot of positives. To be fair, it was a big fight at the time, very very big fight. I topped the bill at the O2. I fought for the British title. Another positive, I got put down. I got cut in that fight. That's all experience. So that sounds silly, but that's a good experience to gain. To have in your arsenal. Plus all the media attention, what we had and stuff. So stuff like that, I'm going to take it as an experience. And plus getting having a defeat. Because when a fight is unbeaten, and you have that thought in your mind thinking you could get beat sometime. When it does happen to you, you've got to deal with it your own way. Obviously, I dealt with it, and I've used it my advantage to go back to the gym and go straight back to the drawing board. Try and develop on things what I never use.
Having shared the ring with Daniel, granted you wasn't necessarily at 100%, but having shared the ring with him, do you see even more so all of the hype and the expectation that's building around him to be one of the stars of the future?
Oh yeah, he's a very very talented boxer, isn't he? There's no doubt about that. He's got a very 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 good cornerman in Martin Bowers. Plus he's good himself. He does the fundamentals very well. The jab, the 1-2s. He's good at his distance. He'll do extremely well, mate.
Daniel was obviously due to face Joyce before all of this. How do you think that fight is going to play out if it happens post lockdown?
Generally, it's a 50-50 fight. I generally believe Amber Matt. I think under 6, Daniel. Listen, it wouldn't surprise me if Daniel knocked Joe out in 1 round. Like, it wouldn't surprise me at all. But it also wouldn't surprise me if it went past 6 rounds and Joe used his engine against him, and weared him down. That also wouldn't surprise me either. So I generally think under 6 Daniel, over 6 Joyce. I won't be surprised what will happen in that fight. Like, saying that again, Joe's been out the ring for 12 months now, coming up in July, same as myself, and that's a long time for a heavyweight to be out the ring. And plus, Joe, he's in his 30s as well. Daniel's young; he's had 2 fights as well, so he's match fit. So the advantages and favours is in Daniel's corner.
Just a final thing on Daniel before we swing it back to yourself. Another name that Frank's kind of mentioned for him for a year or so's time. If boxing does return to the state it was in a few months back, potential Deontay Wilder clash. Do you feel Daniel is within a year or so from somebody like Deontay?
I wouldn't say so, mate. No. Just because Tyson done what he done to him in his last fight doesn't necessarily mean, listen, Daniel's a very, very talented lad. But we're talking about Tyson Fury now, the best heavyweight what's been probably in 30, 40 years' time, if not one of the best heavyweights ever. Just because he done a job on him like that doesn't mean Deontay Wilder's finished or washed up or not as good as people say. You know what I mean? So I think Daniel would beat him, but in the course of 3-4 years. What's the rush for him? There's no rush.
You mentioned there's no rush, and it's interesting. We are seeing fighters, and it's kind of a public demand as well to see fighters push towards bigger fights sooner than what maybe they'd like to, because of the demands there. What do you make of kind of the pressures that are being put onto boxers to step up maybe a bit quicker than what they'd like, or to allow them not to gain as much experience before having those step up fights?
Well, that's when they get beat then, isn't it? Obviously, a fighter should gain all their experience and fight who they're ready for at the time. Because there's no point in going from Class C fighters or Class D and then jumping in with a Class A, because they're going to do things where you've never learned before, and you're going to get caught out, and that's where you can get hurt and get knocked out or get stopped or get beat convincingly. And not only that, it breaks the fighter's heart. I mean, so I think the experience, just build it up slowly and gradually. I think that's the best thing for a fighter, including myself.
So obviously, you're coming back to yourself and Nathan, after the Daniel Dubois defeat, what was you doing with your time? We know it's been a year since, but away from obviously, the split with Ricky, what was you doing with regards to reflecting on it all? How did you see your boxing career playing out? How was you mentally?
Mentally, mate. Obviously, the first 3 months, I had 3 months off after the Daniel fight because my little boy just had his operation. He was going through rehab and things like that. So I spent a lot of time with him and getting him back right first. So I just really spent it at home, with my family. Then I went back into the gym with Ricky and started training. I was trying to push for a December date, try and get back out Christmas time on Daniel's undercard, to be fair, when he fought Kojimoto.
Yes, Fujimoto.
Yeah, Fujimoto. When he fought him, I tried to get on that undercard, but it was full. So really, that's what I was basically doing. I was just really, after the fight, I was just at home looking after the kid and stuff like that with mate.
Let's obviously talk about that split with Ricky as well. What prompted that decision? What made you think you could see a better future away from Ricky?
What it was, I was traveling every day, 110 miles every day. Me and Ricky, still a good friend, never split it on bad terms. Nothing. He's still a friend of mine and my family's. I was traveling 110 miles a day, and I needed to be a lot closer to home. With things and stuff going on, I needed to be a lot closer to home. So that's what I had to do. In boxing, you've got to be selfish. You've got to do what's right for yourself. Do you know what I mean? And that's what was right for me. So that's what I needed to do.
How much do you still talk to Ricky? Do you still go to him for advice? Do you still try to pick his brains about things?
Oh yeah, of course. I'd go to him for advice and stuff. And I speak to him when I can. Now and then. Drop him a text and stuff like that. He's a nice man. You can't. There's nothing wrong with Ricky at all. He's a lovely fella. He's a big friend of mine and my family's.
Now, I'm sure you'd have had some fun and some more mischievous times in that gym. Is there anything you can kind of let us in on as to what would have gone down when you was up there?
Oh mate, every day was a laugh in that gym. Generally, there wasn't one specific thing that doesn't stand out because every day something was always happening. It was good crack, very very good crack, to be fair. It was.
This interview we won't go out today because it's 6:30 or something on the night now. But when it does, it's actually 15 years today since Ricky defeated Costa Zoo. What's your kind of recollection of that? And I can see you there. You're thinking yourself, aren't you?
I can actually remember watching that, and it generally seems like yesterday. I was only a young lad. That must have happened in 2005 then. Yeah, 2005 it was, yeah. So I can watch that as a young lad. I'd have been 8. Jeez, man, time flies. Never would I have thought back then, like I'd have been trained by that man on that telly. And had the experience. I went with Ricky, what we've done and what we've mad, isn't it? What our life turns out.
It is, mate. Let's obviously move it back to yourself then. And now you're set up with a new trainer. How are you finding things?
Finding things really good, mate. In fact, adjusting to things. Like I said before, more closer to home. So I'm back at home within 10 minutes. You know what I mean? So that's what I needed. I'm learning a lot, and I was looking forward to boxing in May so I can show people what I've been working on. I've been working on a lot of things what I don't do.
What plan or kind of vision have you set out for yourself? Have your team set out for yourself then for when boxing returns or behind closed doors shows? What's kind of the image that you can see for yourself for the rest of this year and beyond?
Before obviously the virus come out, we was looking at the May fight. Yeah. Someone decent, a good opponent. I wasn't having like a fall over job. I was having a 10, 12 round of decent opponent people know of. And ideally, I wanted to push on for like the British and Commonwealth titles this year. That was the plan, but obviously that's on hold at the minute. But that still remains the plan, but just whenever the boxing starts back up again, and then hopefully move on from there.
Have you had any
Just keep it going.
conversation? Sorry, mate. Have you had any conversations with Frank or anything at all about behind closed door shows, about when their shows could
Nothing.
return?
Nothing. Yeah, I've heard nothing. Obviously, I'm keeping myself, ticking over and stuff. So if they say to me, "Oh, we got a show in 5 weeks or 4 weeks or 6 weeks, whatever," I say, "Yeah, no problem. I can jump on it." You know what I mean? Because the last thing you want to do is in this lockdown just sit and do nothing. Because if you get that call saying, "Oh, you're ready in 4 or 5 weeks," and you go, "Well," you go, "Oh, I'm not ready. I haven't done nothing." Well, that's your decision, and you've chose to do that. So every day I've been keeping myself active, ticking over, running bags and etc. So if the phone call comes, which I imagine it will happen, I'm good to go.
There's obviously a lot of good names domestically in the heavyweight division. Are there any in particular that catch your eye that you'd like to kind of meet at some point in the next, say, year or so?
Yeah, to be fair, there's probably better domestic fights than there is on the European level, for not just for me, for all of us. We got the best heavyweights in the world now, haven't we? Britain's never been so good for heavyweight boxing, so there's some really, really good fights there, mate. And I'm open to them all, to be totally honest with you.
Obviously, you just mentioned the wealth and the health and the the standing of the British heavyweight division at the minute, with obviously AJ and Fury holding those belts. There's a lot of talk about that potential undisputed fight, Nathan. I know Tyson's obviously a relative of yours, but if we was to see that Fury Joshua fight, how do you see it playing out?
I think Joshua's, don't get me wrong, Joshua's an exceptional fighter, but I think Joshua's made for Tyson. I generally do. If he bullied, you got to come to think about it. If Tyson bullied the biggest puncher ever whilst being in the heavyweight division, which that's what he did, he bullied him. I think he'll do the same to Joshua, to be totally honest. And I think that weight, 19 and a half, 20 stone, I think that's Tyson's weight. That's the weight what suits him.
Have you spoken to Tyson much during lockdown, or since obviously the
I
Daniel?
spoke to him. I spoke to him on Easter. When it was Easter, I spoke to him on Easter. I did. I just wished he wished me happy Easter. I wished him happy Easter and stuff. Now and then, I drop him a line. He drops me a line. As long as he's keeping safe, mate, that's all that matters. Same in his family. That's all that matters. He's an extremely busy man, isn't he?
Well, 100%. Obviously, safety comes first, Nathan. Obviously, you've got his old man as well, John Fury, somebody who I know very well as well, Big John. He kind of had a back and forth with Mickey Theo. What did you make of that?
I know. To be fair, I think John was flattering, but but I've only seen like a couple of videos. I think I could be wrong. I don't know nothing about that Mickey. I think he's trying to just get some publicity or something. But I'd like for the fight to happen. I'd like to watch it.
Nathan, final couple of things before I do let you go. In fact, Dillian White's name's been kind of linked, and he's had a kind of a press conference with Francis Ngannou of the UFC about a potential cross-sport fight, cross-sport clash there. What's your thoughts if Dillian and Francis were to meet in either the ring or the cage?
I suppose it's good, mate. Yes, you got to think it's all business end of the day, isn't it? That's what it comes down to. And obviously, whether it crosses over into boxing or MMA or UFC, it all comes down to the pound now, and that's what they're doing it for.
And my final
Good
thing,
luck to the pair of them.
And my final thing, Nathan, before I do leave you to enjoy the rest of your evening, is we've seen a lot of legends of the sport talking about a return. Likes of Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, James Toney, many more. What's your thoughts on seeing these guys talking about potentially returning to the ring?
Listen, all them lads, what you just said there, I can speak on behalf of half the boxers out in the world. We're massive fans of them people. What they've done in that ring is exceptional. But I do think they should leave what they've done in the past. They shouldn't. Hopefully, they don't come out of the retirement and ruin the legacy what they've already, left. But on the other hand, they could come out and be exceptional. You don't know, but I just hope someone who isn't even good enough to tie up the shoes, doesn't beat them. Because potentially that's what can happen, because age is the biggest killer of everything. And I hope it doesn't happen.
Nathan, we'll leave that there now then. But before I do leave you to enjoy your evening, what would you like to say to everyone who tunes in to watch our interview?
Hope everyone's keeping safe, and God bless everyone.
Nathan, it's been a pleasure to catch up with you. I hope yourself and your family stay well, safe and healthy for all of this. And I hopefully see you soon in person. Thank you for speaking to Boxing Social.
Take care, my mate. God bless.